If you could only keep one Kindle setting, which would you choose? I'm ranking 10 Kindle settings that are supposed to shape how you use your device, from pointless to essential. Some of these choices might surprise you. Let's start from the bottom. The most pointless setting is landscape mode, because for most readers, it's completely unnecessary. If you have a smaller display Kindle, whether that's the standard Kindle, the Kindle Paperwhite, or the Kindle Colorsoft, flipping over to landscape mode just takes away available space to display your text. And even on a Scribe, it sounds more useful in theory than it actually is. I've genuinely tried this, and it just feels unnatural, both to hold and to read from. That's why I've got it as my most pointless setting. Next up is page animation, and it might surprise some people that it's so low on my list here, but it's a purely cosmetic setting, which for me doesn't do anything to add to my overall reading experience. The idea is to try and mimic that feel of a page turning on your Kindle like it would on a physical book. But more often than not, I actually just find this distracting. If I ever want to experience that feeling of a page flipping over, that's when I take a book off my bookshelf rather than relying on my Kindle to provide that same feeling. There's a setting on your Kindle that allows you to stop device usage data and marketing privacy information from being shared with Amazon. I actually did a full video on this recently, and I'll link it in the description. Now, for some people, this is something really important to protect their data and stop Amazon from marketing them with products. But for me, it's actually closer to pointless on my Kindle. And the reason for that is that I found over the years some really great books which have been marketed to me. And yes, I know the whole point is to get me to spend more, but I actually don't mind it when I come away with a book that feels to me like a win. And this happened to me recently. I got a marketing email from Amazon for the Martini Club series, and I saw on the face of it that this was recommended for anyone who read and enjoyed the Thursday Murder Club. So I bought the book and I read it when I went on holiday, and I absolutely loved it. That's just one of the reasons why I actually think it can be useful to keep these marketing settings turned on. Wordwise is a setting that I have tried repeatedly. The idea sounds great in principle. Kindle predicts which words you won't know, and then it shows you the definition above them. At the moment, I'm reading Ultra Processed People by Chris Van Tilliken, and that's a great example of a book for me where I can push Wordwise all the way to the top level, and it gives me all the hints that I would need in case I'm unsure of a word that comes up. That saves me time from having to manually check every single word that I'm unsure of. If I have one downside to Wordwise though, it would just be that adjustment to the line spacing. If you're someone like me that does like your line spacing closer together, then obviously this pushes them further away so that you can see the hint. But that's the compromise you have to accept if you want to use this feature. Dark mode feels like a setting that's a nice to have, but I don't use it as often as you might think. A while ago, I really tried to implement dark mode into my nighttime routine because I'd heard people saying about how it was so much more comfortable to read before bed. And honestly, after a full week of trying this, I just didn't enjoy reading in dark mode as much as standard. I think what counted against dark mode was that I've never actually experienced eye strain reading in standard mode on my Kindle before bed. So there wasn't that motivation that some people might experience it. And when you have the choice between something you know and love and something new, you probably always lean towards the thing that you're more comfortable with. That's the first 5 ranked, and I really want to hear what order you would put each of these in. So let me know in the comments. And while you're there, check out my free Kindle guide. It's full of Kindle tips and bonus sections all about getting more out of your device. If that sounds like your sort of thing, it's completely free and the link is in the description. Now into the second half, 5 settings that I genuinely couldn't be without. And first up is X-ray. It's situationally excellent, one of the best tools for painting a picture of a character or a place. It's great for fiction with a big cast, and it also works for non-fiction too. You pull it up, get a summary, plus every point in the book where they've appeared. But there are 2 important things to know about X-ray, which is why it's not at the top of this list. The first one is I've noticed a slight problem creeping into my X-ray. I was reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire recently, and I don't know what made me, but I did an X-ray on some of the characters. And Alistair Moody in particular actually gave away a plot point from the end of the book. Now, For most people, they probably know all the stories of Harry Potter, but this isn't the only time it's happened, and it's something that people should be aware of when they're pulling up X-ray for a specific character. And then the second one, and this is arguably the biggest, is that not every book has X-ray. So it doesn't allow you to form a consistent habit of pulling up different information on characters or places in a book. The answer really is that more books need to turn X-ray on. Collections are in at number 4. And this is one of those settings which I never used when I first got my Kindle. But over the last year, I've really made sure to use collections more and more, to a point where now I completely rely on them in my Kindle setup. It meaningfully helps improve a growing library. And I started to notice this as soon as mine grew large enough that I actually began losing books that I'd been excited to buy. When I first started my collections, they were very factually listed. So things like read next, currently reading, non-fiction, and fiction. And that worked well, but I felt like it wasn't actually giving me any satisfaction in the way I'd set it up. So I looked into different options and I suddenly thought about the KonMari method, which I've used to organise my home, and I applied it to my library. The idea was simple: which books actually spark joy? And from that, create collections based on the excitement I felt when I went to reach for a book. It's made such a big difference. And if you are interested in finding out more about that, I'll put a link in the description to the full video that I did on setting up my Kindle with the KonMari method. And the final thing that I will say about collections, which is learning from the mistake I made, is it's never too small to start your collections. It might seem like the sort of thing that you can put off until your library grows, but if you can start whilst you have fewer books, you won't regret it in the future. We're into the top 3 now, and taking home the bronze medal is the reading progress display. So for most people, you'll recognise this as the bottom left of your Kindle display, and this could show either the time left in chapter, time left in book, the page number, or the location. Some people feel this should be off entirely. The reason for that is that it gives you full immersion. You're not worried about what page number you're on or how long you've got left in the chapter. I've tried this full immersion, but I always come back to turning on my reading progress display. And I like to think of it like this: if you're reading a physical book, you still see what page number you're on, and you can actually see how far you are through the book. What I've always found is that gives you motivation to carry on the further you get through a book. And it shouldn't be any different with your Kindle. Having these numbers available helps you stay motivated to keep reading. And in particular, I love the time remaining in the chapter, because I think it's a great gauge of being able to know how much you can read in the time you have available. That's why I always go back to having this setting turned on, and I feel no shame in that. The warmth and brightness adjustment is one of the most underrated on a Kindle, and I think that's because of how simple it is that we just get used to it. But modern Kindles couldn't be without this setting, and that's because it's crucial to what makes the device usable. You can take both right down and the screen will mimic that look of paper. Push the brightness up as it gets darker around you, and you can still read without any issues. But the warmth matters most for me, because it softens the display noticeably, and that's why I've never suffered with my eyes on my Kindle. After a long period on my iPhone or my laptop, I do suffer from eye strain, and that's something I've never experienced using my Kindle. And I think I owe that to this setting. Coming in as the most essential setting on your Kindle is making sure that you have sync turned on, because this is the one that ensures that your reading place on every single book you own is synced across every device. I read across 2 Kindles, the app on phone and on iPad, and I listen on Audible. Sync is what makes all of that work as one system rather than as 5 separate libraries. You can turn sync off, and there's one genuine use case where this is helpful, and I'll share it now in case you hear it and you think it could apply to you. If you have more than one individual with a Kindle device and you all use the same Amazon login details, then you can actually share the same Kindle library. But by turning sync off, you don't have to worry about interrupting somebody else's progress through a book. So that actually means that 2 Kindle devices, 2 separate people, could read the same book from the same library, but you don't have to worry about interrupting the other person as you read. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about this. I just make sure that sync is always turned on. Because if it wasn't available and this setting disappeared, my library would be chaos. And it would take me so much time having to find where I was in the book as I was reading it on a different device. That's why it's cemented at number 1 on my list. There are the 10 Kindle settings ranked from pointless to essential. Did you agree with them or did you disagree with them? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments your order. I really do want to hear from you. If you've enjoyed this video, then a like is always appreciated, and subscribe to keep up with all the content that's coming your way from this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.